Welcome to PW Construction. Today I'm going to show you how to patch a hole in the drywall. And we're going to do this with a piece of drywall. And this is all you will need: an 8-inch taping knife. This to put the material. We got the all-purpose. I would recommend all-purpose. Since it's a small hole, I don't really need a lot of them, a lot of the mud. And this is for the texture, to match the texture on the wall. We're looking at orange peel wall texture. Dries in 5 minutes, so this is good if it's a small patch. We're using I'm not gonna need all the drywall, just a little piece, but the drywall we're using fast. Oh, it's upside down, but fast set 40-minute. I mean, I didn't want to buy the 5-minute. There's 5-minute, 20-minute. This is what I need at first. You're gonna need. So this is pretty much all the materials, all the tools you will need for the patching. I forgot to mention, you'll need this cardboard cutting knife, this measure, like there you have a square that you can measure this, and then just go and cut it out for the piece of drywall. So now you cut it off and you have not a perfect square, but you have a square. Now I did a little bit bigger than the measurements from the square I need to patch, because I'm gonna leave a layer 2-inch of just the paper sticking out, since I'm not gonna use the mesh tape. This is a method I'm gonna use, so I'll show you guys how to cut it off. Now I'm gonna cut off the measurements that I actually need inside this square. We have this here. See this? This is what we're gonna need. Just take it off. See the part right here? Boom. Just take it off. This too. Take it off. Take it off. Now you have this. And this, instead of a mesh tape, screwing the mesh tape, I think we're just gonna put this into the wall and put the mud, clean it up. So now we have this, we just cut off right now. And the measurements are not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be exactly a perfect square. That's why you have this. You can just trim it out. If it doesn't fit, you trim it out. So it goes in. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a perfect square because you can always trim it. And then we'll get to work. So for me, there's different methods to patching this hole. For me, I would rather do this. I mean, it's what's easier for you and what you're able to do it with. If you're able to get a piece of drywall, or like I said, you can just get this. I'm not sure. I'll put in the link down below. The different methods you can do it, and comment down below if you want me to do another method. This is the method I'm using today. How you see, you cut it out, and you know, it's not perfect square, but as long as it fits. And the reason I use this method because I would rather have another piece of sheetrock in here to support the patching. So like that, it just goes in, boom, and then the rest is just the mudding. I'll show you next. I think I put too much, but you need around this or a little bit less. You know, you have to throw it away right after you're done using it because it'll dry and it'll ruin this little pan. It'll ruin it for sure. There you go. You don't want it too watery. You don't want it too hard, too dry. You want it right in the middle where you can use it as glue, where you can do anything with it. You don't want it too. You just want it right in the middle. If you put too much water, put a little bit more of the compound. If you have too much compound, just put a little bit more water. You want it right at the middle. So now we're gonna mud this on the inside and around, and then I'm gonna have to use my hand because I don't have a smaller knife than this. I need this is 4.5. So we're gonna try to do, let's see, just something that you can mud it with on the side. You don't want to get too dirty, just so it can stick. You rinse it off. Okay, so this is what we're doing next. We're gonna use the all-purpose joint compound. I think this should be enough. And when you want to, we're just gonna get some. Then you're just gonna mix it. Mix it. If you need water, try to put a little bit of water. It's up to you. Once it dries, you touch it, it's dry. You can put the second coat on it. Just scrape these little things off. So the reason I use a fast set instead of this on the first coat, so I can do it the same day. This dries, and this is not going to dry at the same time. This is going to take, depending on the weather, or not even the weather, depending on how hot it is inside of your house. it'll take longer to dry. So this is already dried, same day. I'm gonna put this and I have to let it dry for like a long, I believe a day, maybe less, depending. And once I put it on and it dries, I have to sand it down a little bit to throw on the matching texture for this. So that's why I use this. You can use this in the first coat, you just have to wait a day or two. So now you just okay, now this is the second coat. Don't worry about the lines. Once it dries, you sand it down a little bit and then you can throw the texture on it. It was pretty much just to fill in what was left, what it has sucked in. As you can see those thick lines, but you don't really have to worry about them. The sanding will do the job. You just make sure you cannot see the outline of the sheetrock, the patch, and then you just wait for it to dry to sand it down and throw on the texture. That's pretty much it. Second coat. As you can see now, it's fully dried. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see the outline a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sand it down, and this is what I like to do to make sure it's flat. You don't really have to do it because the texture will cover it, but I just like leaving it all nice. So I'm gonna sand it down. Now you can sand it with either the sponge or this. Doesn't really matter as long as you sand it down. In this case, I prefer to use this, so I'll recommend this. But you can also use this in case you can get some of these. So like I said, now there's no lines, nice and flat. But I would recommend if you want it just where you can't really see anything. Right now it's perfect. You can just throw the texture on it, but I'm just gonna give it a little skim coat just to fill in the little stuff that's there. I like to leave stuff perfect. I have a little of the all-purpose, and I'm just gonna apply it. Just put it on there and remove it. So now, all the little stuff all the little lines that you were able to see that was sucked in when the all-purpose compound dried, with this, it'll just fill it in. You don't really have to put a lot, just little touch up on it, and should be ready for texture. Okay, now we have the bottle, the wall texture. Make sure you practice on a piece of cardboard or an extra piece of drywall, paper or something before you actually spray it on here, so you get the hang out of it. They want you to just read the instructions right here. Shake it for a minute. Make sure you shake it for a minute. And then I already practiced on a piece of drywall, cardboard. You know, it has the levels right here. Tells you a fine, medium, and then heavy. You just try to match whatever style you have. Okay, I got the bottle, and then okay, now it should look something like this. Just to blend it out. What I didn't record, what I did was So this dries in 5 minutes. That bottle says it dries in 5 minutes. So maybe 2 minutes after you spray it, maybe less, depending on how you see it is drying. You, get the knife and slowly, just go and flatten it out, just slowly, because as you can see right here, I let it dry a little bit too much, so it kind of peeled it off. So I'm just letting it dry all now, but it's flat. Just try, that's what makes it the orange peel. Just try to don't let it dry too much, and that should pretty much it dry. And then you paint it and it blends in.